another edition of Coffee and Conversations. My name is Adrienne Wooten. I am a councilwoman at large in the city of Orange Township. This is an idea or a baby of a bunch of my girls and I were sitting around, and one of them said, you need to have conversations with the residents or the citizens in the city of Orange Township. Of course, I was like, yeah, let's do it. But then I went to my mentor, the mayor, to ask him, do you think this is gonna do well? I think it is doing pretty good. We started in August of last year. We have a list of things that I've turned over to the administration for them to answer your questions. And a lot of times the mayor or whoever's on the panel, they can answer them right away. But what we're doing is we're putting together a pamphlet or a brochure that's gonna list all of your concerns and all of the answers from the administration. So this morning, I'm blessed to have a great panel this morning in this 4-degree weather. So thankful to have each and every one of you here in this weather, and we know that we're all here for the good and the betterment of the city of Orange Township. So to my left, I have the South Ward Councilwoman. She is my council sister. We coordinate a lot of things together. I have Jamie Summers. To my right, I have an Assistant City Attorney, Alex Sirocco. So some people might know what Sirocco is. They shorten it and they say Ciroc. I think that's what it is, right? And I'm going to be passing the mic to them so each one of them can speak. And then I have none other than Dwayne D. Warren, Esquire, the mayor of the city of Orange Township. And I'll probably give the mic to him so he can go forward from here. But once again, thank y'all so much for coming out today. And please ask any question regarding the city that you would like an answer to. It doesn't matter what it is, anything.
Thank you. I'll take the safe questions and the tough ones I'll give to the council people. Please, let's give a big round of applause to Adrienne Wooten, at-large councilperson. Today, a lady in red, we're all remembering our health today, and therefore the red, mine is combined Kappa as well. It's just a good thing to have. I do want to call forward our host today, Zakiya Williams. Come on forward. Much like the artistry in her dress, you can see the walls are adorned with art that is all available. Just ask her and any piece is available. This venue is available for use for any kind of function that you may have. But I do want to give Zakiya a minute to say hello as well.
Yay. Thank you. So, thank you guys for all being here, for showing up for yourselves and each other. We are a very community-based organization, Zio Creative Studio, as well as the Creative Healing Network. We are a arts and wellness-based collective. We have 47 local artists and holistic practitioners. I think it's very beautiful that you are wearing the red that represents health. We are all advocates of health, holistic health in particular. So it'd be great if you guys continue to show up, ask your questions, because we all are here to support community. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Her son, who is doing the labor today, unpaid. Zakiya, just real quickly, you've been in business how long?
Oh gosh. I have been, first of all, I'm a local, I'm native of Orange, born and raised, born in Orange Memorial Hospital. My family is here. We are avid taxpayers here in Orange, New Jersey. I've been in business right here in Orange for 12 years, and I've been here in the South Ward, Valley Arts, give it up, Jamie Summers, for the past 8 years, and we just look forward to keep bringing it here in Orange, keeping it here.
Thank you, thank you. Valley Arts is about Valley and the arts, so we want to, it was just fitting that we opened here. Happy New Year to everyone. Today is the third day of Black History Month, so we honor that as well. We do this because we want to talk to the community. I'm happy today that we did it because normally on a Saturday, I am walking with some information door to door, and today it's very cold, so I'm happy to be inside with our efforts. But essentially, we're open for any questions. Nothing is off limits. If we don't know, we will get your information and try to get back to you. This is being televised. So if you have a question and you want it answered, there's going to be an email address that's on the screen. If you send it in, we'll send back a response to whatever issues that you may have. Again, nothing is off limits. We are immune from being offended. Once we got elected and took oath, that was part of our oath taking. So no questions off limits. We'll try to get an answer to anything that you have. While we are elected politicians, except for Alex, our job here today is to be informative and to serve the public. So, Madam Chair, whenever you're ready, we're ready.
We briefly, let's tell the people what a city attorney or a city attorney does. Like, what does the law department do for the city as in terms to, do you do anything for the residents or is it strictly for the administration? How does the law office work?
So, hello, there we go. So good morning, everybody. My name is Alex Sirocco. I'm an assistant city attorney here in Orange. I serve under Gracia Montillis. There are 4 city attorneys, assistant city attorneys, and Gras in our office. So me specifically, one of the jobs and duties that I have is working directly with the department heads such as police, fire, Department of Public Works, as well as business administration and any legal matters that they need from us to assist with as far as resolutions, ordinances, jobs that go out for bid, and things of that nature. And my job specifically, also, we deal with any of the lawsuits that come in. A lot of those stay in-house that we deal with, so filing answers, setting up depositions, excuse me, answering interrogatories and dealing with opposing and co-counsel as well. So me specifically, I don't have that much interaction with the public, but when the public does need something from me specifically, we're always there to assist and help them in any way we could.
I just want to add, as an attorney and a person who serves as an attorney for municipalities, I do want to add that we drag the law department into a host of things that include the public as well. There, on any given day, there could be a bunch of tenants who don't have heat, who don't have hot water, who have some kind of crisis. And so we spring into action. When we're organizing around funding from Trenton, they spring into action as well. And we would note that the business administrator was going to be here, but he came down with COVID earlier this week and was going to try to make it here today anyway. But we know what kind of event this would have been. So I canceled him late last night, and we called Alex about an hour and a half ago, maybe.
Little less.
And said, Alex, if you can get here. He told his family that the city's calling, he's got to go. So thank you, Alex.
No problem, Mayor.
So to my left, I have one of my council sisters. You know that we do a lot of collaborative things in the city of Orange Township. She's an avid recreation person. She's dealing with the recreation department right now regarding basketball and football. I'd like to introduce to you Jamie Summers Johnson, South Ward Council person.
Hello. I'm just excited that it's like standing room only. When Councilman Wooten and I started, we were always fearful that we would have a meeting and no one would come. And then we had to decide, you know, you just have it, and who shows up is who you cater to. And then eventually word will get out and more people will come. We like these meetings because we don't want people to think they have to wait until a council meeting to get a response or get an answer. I'm a councilwoman, but I'm also a teacher, so I'm used to being asked something and they want to know the answer. And if you're going to get back, if you say I'm going to get back to you, then you have to get back, you know, to the residents. And I'll be honest, there are some things I don't know, and I will always seek out the answer. Pretending that I do know, it would be a big mistake. So I'm happy to be out here amongst the people. At this point, being 50, my father's 90, so I'm at a different place in my life where you're now seeing your parents need you more. So I'm looking at the health care and how our seniors are being taken care of and the services for our seniors. My parents have us to go to doctor's appointments with, but do all residents have that? When you go buy your prescription, sometimes I stand behind people and their bill is like $400. And then my parents, theirs are cheaper, but it's just like $400. How are they gonna pay their health benefits? Are they going to cut their pills in half, which a lot of seniors do? So my look and how I look at the South Ward, it's really trying to make sure that we keep our seniors here and that they're protected. And then I have young children in the Orange Public School System, so it's like, let's keep our kids actively engaged in activities that will make them strong and intelligent individuals going forward.
So now, to you, does anyone have a question? So 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? Ms. Sachs.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Laura Sachs. I'm a school nurse in Orange. I'm going to ask a really tough question, so forgive me in advance. As everyone knows, I really care about our kids and the community so much. So I want to know, and I'm honest, so I see all these buildings going up by peak development, and they are huge. And I hear that they have these tax abatements for 20, 30 years. And I want to know what they are doing for our kids. How come they're not building fields, soccer fields, basketball courts, areas where kids can play? How come they're not making walkways for people to walk? And it really, really concerns me that we're having all these buildings and so many people are coming in, but what are our kids going to do? And that to me is a huge concern. And I want to know how we can possibly change that and get these developers to get back to the community big time to take care of our kids and the community. So thank you.
That's a very good question, and that surrounds community benefits that we get when we give something to a developer. There are a number of properties that could not get developed unless there's a tax abatement and we bring the developers in, and then they start to pay a larger portion of the tax rate. And so that money goes into the school system. But beyond that, for the developer agreement and for the tax abatement, Peak in particular is going to be a very large part of our library redevelopment, where we'll get grant dollars, free dollars that'll go into our library development. That developer in particular also has undertaken the task of doing a street paving project free of charge to the city, something that they'll pay for. So all of these on Berwyn Street around the corner from where Councilman Wooten lives, they've already committed to doing classrooms and art space in the building that's going to be free to us and available to our children. So most of the projects will have something attached to it where they benefit the community as well. And that's something it's perfectly legal, it's something that we deserve, and we're giving them something up front that they're willing to give back to the community in terms of a service. There's a smaller project right across from Colgate Park, where it's just I believe it's a 5 or 6 family development, but they've agreed to outfit it to include a police substation for our police department. We'll be able to store things there. It's office space, be able to meet the community right there on the spot, because we believe that if we have safer zones, more people use the parks. They've also contributed to having the cameras that will capture most of Colgate Park, and there's another portion that's going to cover the skate park that's part of Colgate Park. So all of those kinds of incentives are in. In some cases, we ask them, what do you see that you can do? In other cases, we delineate what our needs are and have them fit what our needs are.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Angel Vargas, Director of the Essex County Latino American Chamber of Commerce, also a resident of Orange. And Mayor, I wanted to ask you a question. what can we do to stop the speeding that's going on in various of the main routes in the Township of Orange, Scotland Road, Haywood Avenue, South Center, Lincoln, Tremont, Main Street, Central Avenue, etc. How can you, as the mayor, and I know you've done a great job, Mayor, you know, no disrespect, there should be some more watching. We shouldn't allow our young people to ride around here, all people of color, the way they want to and how they think without a lack of disrespect of our community, our senior citizens, and our children. Because one day, sooner or later, it could happen where we may lose a child from the streets. It could happen. It happens in every major city. It could happen to the Township of Orange. And that's my question to you, sir.
Thank you. And it has happened in Orange. I mean, reckless driving has caused damage to property, injury, and it has caused death in Orange as well. It's a huge concern. I got vetoed on the idea that every time we replace the streets, we also put in speed bumps on the engineers told me that I couldn't do that because there's a concern about access to public safety persons, ambulances, fire, and police. So I couldn't do it as frequently as I wanted to every street. But I am trying to work a proposal where I could at least get it at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle of a street so it doesn't obstruct public safety. But that is a key to slowing traffic down. If you remember many years back on Center Street, it was just an entire speedway. And when they installed the speed bumps, it drastically reduced traffic and it reduced accidents as well. On the county roads, they are in agreement to do some kind of speed calming, and that would be parts of Main Street, Central Avenue, and Scotland Road. So we're working with them to also do some speed calming as well. But on the technology side, the police department has invested in cameras and license plate readers. So if you drive through certain parts of our town beginning, I'm not supposed to say when it's beginning. But at some point in Orange, if you drive through town and your car is not registered, or if your license is suspended and that car belongs to you, you're going to get a notice in the mail. Hey, your car was operating in Orange. It is unregistered. The fine for that is XYZ. Now, it could be your son, daughter, family member, someone else driving your car, and you'll say, I wasn't driving, but you're still going to get a summons. You still may have to go to court and explain to the court at that point. If that happens where you may come in on Main Street down by Military Park and you're driving through, it could happen by the time that you get up to GNS Deli that the police have been notified and they could get you right there on the spot. If you don't have insurance, of course, they'll tow your car. If it's not registered, of course, they can tow your car. So those things can happen very quickly. But that technology, on a limited basis that we had, where we put it at the perimeters of the town, we have gotten about 4 to 6 guns, pounds and pounds of cocaine, pounds and pounds of marijuana, pills, and a bunch of people who had warrants and had stolen cars. So we know it works because we put it on the perimeters and it worked. But now, soon, it'll be in the interior, where we live, where we drive around. So you should be a little bit more careful as you drive. Once it's all unloaded, I'm going to really put out a public campaign that this is happening. But the police asked me to please not to go in the public and do as you do and talk about this.
Go back on the table.
So we didn't hear this.
Right.
Yes. She should follow up. It'll be for speeding and it'll be for documentation violations as well. And it'll be connected to the statewide. So if someone puts in the bulletin, red car stolen out of Belleville, please be on the watch. If we did nothing but just sit by a computer and they came through Orange, it'll ping and we can say, hey, the car came through here and we're either in surveillance, it stopped, or it went through.
So can I?
But I'm not saying that that's happening, but I'm just saying that's a piece of technology that will be useful to us.
So can I ask you a question? This
Yes.
may be for the law department. It's a legal question. So some people say that those readers that read licenses and they read that information, it violates people's rights because I have the right to privacy. I don't know if that's privacy, but when I drive through a town and there's a reader reading my driver's license and it's saying that I was here or I was there, like how can we do that? And is it actually against the law to do that? So that's for either you.
Yeah, I'll let the lawyer talk about the expectation of privacy. Because I think this technology is really far-reaching, and it's been a good tool for law enforcement as a mayor. But I do also practice some civil rights laws, but I'm not here as a civil rights lawyer today. So I'll let the attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. What I will say is that the technology that the mayor was talking about, reading the plates, stuff like that, it is strictly used for that purpose. It is only if it runs a plate and the registration is expired or there was a warrant out for the owner of that vehicle, it will set off a flag. But it is not used to, try to spy on people or invade other people's privacy. Obviously, when people hear that there's an eye in the sky watching, your lights go up. What are they doing? What are they watching? But the sole purpose and only purpose of the technology is to help keep the community safe and to find people that are, or to help assist law enforcement better in getting people that are either driving without a license, driving without registration or insurance. So the legality, it is definitely legal, but I understand why people think that it's the eye in the sky watching and trying to get too involved in our lives.
And I don't know this, but in every instance, every ping that comes up, a ticket's not automatically issued.
Right, no, it generally is that it's not just automated system, there is the human element that does then try to confirm that, because computers make mistakes, right? So it's not just like it's not just the computer doing the entire thing, there is the human element as well.
A couple of things. First of all, artificial intelligence is watching you at every moment anyway, so don't worry about it. They look at you wherever you are. But my question is this, and I'm so glad the law department is here, because I have been advocating for the Highland Avenue train station for years now. New Jersey Transit, petitions, blah, blah, blah. And it is my understanding that Orange has a lease agreement with New Jersey Transit that we now are basically the lesser of the Highland Avenue train station. I know that there have been a mountain of funds designated for the station, but nothing has happened. Nothing has been done. So I researched leases with other towns at New Jersey Transit. Very interesting. The one in particular is Glen Ridge. Glen Ridge has been leasing that station for years now. The lease agreement is $100 a year. That's like the standard lease agreement. I just want to know where we are on our lease agreement and what's happening with Highland Avenue train station.
Have you been involved in it at all?
I have not been involved in any discussions about the train station.
It's been assigned to Aaron, another attorney in the office. So the Highland Avenue train station, we know it all exists. It has been there for years and years. About 8 years ago, we ventured upon why don't we take the train station over, open it up, put it in a cafe, make it usable. We brought that to New Jersey Transit. They notoriously drag their feet. But they finally came, they inspected, they talked to our engineers and said, okay, this is a possibility. And then they said, give us a ridership report, which took a while to put together. And then they said, we'll look at it, a feasibility study. They had a feasibility study, it was approved, and then we talked about numbers. And they said this is going to be a good million, at least $1 million project. Does the city have $1 million in cash? Even if we did, I would have said no, which I said no. And then we made an application for funds to see whether or not we could get transit funds, Federal Department of Transportation funds. With the collaboration of all our applications and monies from different sources, we garnered a $600,000 grant initially, and then another one, a second one for 600. So we have about a little bit over $1.2 million to get the station up and running. We want it to be a small cafe where you go and you can get coffee, newspaper, maybe something to eat, and for it to be a feasible waiting station with restrooms. And in order to do that, you have to lay all of that out for them, and then they have to approve it. We've laid out what we want. New Jersey Transit is looking at it with their own engineers. And before they'll approve it or before they'll allow us to spend one dime, we have to go to New Jersey Transit Department training in order to know how to administer their grant and what their expectations are, safety, and so forth. We have two of our representatives from the city has completed that training. Our money is intact. And now the engineers from New Jersey Transit are looking at our plans to see if they're approved. I expect to appear at their next board meeting, which I think is somewhere around April, to ask them what's happening, and they'll probably examine me as to some of the concerns that they might have. I don't see any concerns that they could have. One of the things I want to bring to their attention, though, is the upkeep of the place, because the litter there gets to be pretty awful, and it just encroaches on our public parks. And so that's one of the things I'm going to bring up. And part of the monies I want to use is to budget for someone to do regular cleanup in the area. So once that happens, I'll be able to report back to the public around April as to what's happening next.
Mayor Warren, I was under the impression that when New Jersey Transit builds, when New Jersey Transit does redevelopment in the areas and in cities through its urban renewal program, right? They're supposed to fix up the train stations, but at the same time, anything that's around 200-300 yards from that train station, they're to build, help in the building process. So any funding that comes from them should be able to build that Highline Station. Because they're already developing on the other side of the train station in Orange, and they're building a beautiful, which is already complete, I think. Them apartments over there, it looks gorgeous. But it's New Jersey Transit, like they did in Morristown. They took Morristown and they put in for all those housings and all them buildings that were built around the train station. The same way they've been doing around Hoboken and around other towns throughout the state of New Jersey. I think that Transit's responsibility is to help townships and cities like ours to help in the redevelopment process.
Yeah, I've been to every train station. I've done a study on it, and they've helped. They've done everywhere. That's why I don't understand the holdup.
If you see the mural where Highland Avenue is stationed, that was part of their partnership with, I believe, Valley Arts, and then there's property right in front of it that's going to be developed that we needed their cooperation on. They're going to cooperate to get that developed as well. And they'll be part of another project where there'll be a garage for the units, but there's also going to be a separate portion that the city will control for New Jersey Transit that will be revenue generators for us. So you do cooperate in that regard. I want to get them to more practically cooperate in terms of the cleanliness as well.
Hi there. I'm Dolores Tyson. Yes, you are. And I'm representing the Orange Education Foundation. I'm vice president. And we, too, are very concerned about the growth and development of our young people. And we have been waiting for this community center. A few years ago, they were in there chipping around and building and doing other things inside. That stopped. I understand it's on the blueprint. I was pleased to hear you mention the benefits of all this bricks and mortar that's going up, and we are benefiting from that. What is happening with the community center, please?
Very good question. On Main Street, where the old Y was, Main and Scotland right there, the first plan years ago was to take the Y, make that into a community center. Once we started looking at the plans, it looked like it was going to be too small to accommodate our city and the far-reaching activities that we wanted to have. We were looking at trying to get 2 pools, one Olympic size and one a smaller pool, 2 courts that can be used for basketball and for other activities as well, classroom space, exercise space, and some artist space. And so that was going to be too small for our needs. So we were able to obtain funding and to do some bond funding to acquire the Rossi Paint Store on Main Street, hook up with the Y and take the entire corner and a little restaurant in the back as well, and have the developer build us out a community center while they build their units for free. We would get the community center and all the amenities with the swimming pools, all the courts and so forth. That process of what we wanted took a while, but we finally carved out what we wanted and what could be perceived. And about a month ago, we advertised RFPs, requests for proposals to be able to build what we want. And one developer came back. It's a big national developer, but they refused. They didn't refuse, but they were reluctant to work with any kind of minority participation in terms of development and architecture and so forth. So we did find one. The second one that came in had great credentials, is actually connected to the first luxury building that they're doing right by 280. They're connected with them. They're able to build it. There's going to be minority participation in everything we need in terms of accommodating our recreation needs, our classroom needs, our artist space. They're going to be able to do in our building, and then they'll build their building around Scotland. And we'll have parking as well. We've put the RFP out. They came back with everything that we need to have approved. Our architects, so when someone comes back and says, yes, I can do that, it's not enough for me to say, yes, you can. I have to get the architects and our engineers to look at it and say, yes, it is feasible or it's not feasible. That's where we are now. That usually takes 30, 45 days. So I'm probably going to report this out probably in June about what's happening with that project.
Is the site where you're looking to put that be somewhere else? Because I've done some research on that, and that's all I have to do. I have time. But I went to West Deptford, where they had the same sort of issue. They didn't have a senior center, pools, blah, blah, blah. And what they did was they took a section of a park and built a structure that has a section for seniors, for youth, pools, indoor space, outdoor space. So it's usable year-round, and it's a wonderful, wonderful space. So then I went and looked at our parks. Okay, Orange Park is a
County.
county park, but we have Metcalf Park. Now, Metcalf Park, which is sizable, a structure like that could be there, and all those amenities could be in that one building and still have that park. Has that been considered? Because, I mean, putting that structure on Main Street, to me, is going to be a nightmare. I mean, it's a nice facility, but not on Main Street.
Yeah, the park was not considered, and particularly Metcalf and Colgate Parks could not be constructed on given the grant that the city received them under. When the families had donated the land, it was a restriction that follows with the deed.
Okay. Really?
You know, you know who Metcalf? Yes.
Yeah, because I know that.
Colgate's the same way.
Okay.
Ropes is a possibility, but it's just a small footprint. Yeah.
Small, but, I think the structure we're talking about is an excellent idea, but, Main Street, I think what we put on Main Street floors me. We put a lawn on there, we're gonna put a community center on there. The traffic there now is ridiculous, I know, because I was looking for parking yesterday, so I just parked in the city lot.
Police didn't come today. Police didn't come today.
And it's just, I mean, it just, to me, it means, I mean, if you're gonna have seniors and kids and everything on Main Street, that's crazy. And then I also got things, because I sit on the historic commission, to tear the Rossi building down instead of incorporating is just insanity. Nobody has more historic buildings on their Main Street than ours. I know, like I said, I did research, and we just keep tearing them down. And that's throwing money in the
Yeah,
trash.
that structure, which is nearly 200 years old, it could not accommodate, it couldn't accommodate the kind of features and use that we're going to have in that building.
Mayor, will they go high? Will they go high up?
Yes.
Some of the North Star, I know one of the schools, my son played basketball, they have about 5 or maybe 4 or 5 basketball courts, like it's various, you know. And I know like the Montclair ride, their ride is off Bluefield, it's like off Bluefield. And then they have.
It'll be similar to that. That's where
So
you'll come
we
into
have
that parking, yes.
A parking deck to be able to also bring in.
Be underground parking and 2 other levels.
I understand what you're saying, I see both.
Right, because, you know, it doesn't make sense.
Yes, sir.
Hi there. My name is Scott Schultz. I'm a longtime resident. I actually live right upstairs here for the last 20 years. I'm a founder of Valley Arts. I've served on the Hands Board for about 20 years, and I've seen a lot of changes here in the community over the years. My issues are revolving around the creation of the substation right here, and the nightmare of trying to live through this construction because of the thoughtlessness and a lack of planning for the community here for us to be able to survive this construction. From a residential standpoint, I can't park on my block most days. I am a senior citizen. I have 2 bad knees and live in a walk-up. I try and get my groceries delivered. I can't get them delivered because the streets are closed and the police won't let people through. We need to have some sort of system that allows not just the residences, but the commercial tenants who are being forced out of the community because of this construction. We have worked over 2 decades to try and recreate a neighborhood here. And if anybody knows what this was like over 20 years ago, it was hookers and drug dealers and not a single residence. A not-for-profit, Hands, which I'm a longtime member of, spent all of their money trying to recreate a community here, not the city of Orange. And there were promises made by PSE&G in terms of community benefit agreements and everything else, and they have not lived up to what they've promised, and it's a nightmare trying to live here. And if you want to try and keep your tenants and your businesses surviving, we've got another year plus change of this construction going on, and unless there's some reasonable communications that can be established and compromises made, I don't know how we're going to be able to survive here. And I'm not just talking about me as a tenant, I'm talking about the commercial tenants and also Hands as an organization. And the loss of any of those things would be a real loss to the community.
Here. When we started that process, and even as they went through the land use boards, and we've had discussions with the public in public meetings, I don't think enough thought was given to the practicalities of living through construction. I know that I did not pay the requisite attention to the issue of how am I going to get Grubhub, how am I just going to come home every day and get into my house. And that's, yeah, and that's an issue that we're going to address directly, immediately. So you'll see change to that pretty immediately because it's just something that should have been done that wasn't done.
And what about the commercial tenants who have lost huge amounts of revenue, including this location here, who can't operate a meditation and
For the,
What leverage do we have at this point? Because the city gave them a green light to go ahead with all of this, and it's your police department that is supporting that.
PSCNG, when we had our conversation with them here, they said, hey, file for, you should see a fund.
a file for,
Lots of business.
And they made it seem like we were gonna try to work things out and get the businesses through a tough period, right? Since then, all of the businesses here who have been hurt have sent all of the requisite, data to all of the parties, and all of them have received refusal letters. And they cite very clearly in the letter that because they are PSCG and they are quasi-governmental in the way that they will operate, that there's nothing we can do. So what appeared to be some type of leverage and collaboration in the beginning has basically told every single business here, you are getting nothing.
has that been an organized process submitting the claims? Has it been an organized process? Do we know who has the data?
Yeah.
Is there,
Yeah, every business, so all the businesses here are together, we went to the market right there, and all of them can show you the letters,
Okay.
including the gentleman next door at Turret Health.
all right, so that particular interest, by Monday, I'm going to have the law department scan the area just to ask if they haven't done it, collect data, and then we have the meeting with PSC&G, then a subsequent meeting with the business owners and PSC&G to move on that part directly.
Legal lawyers look very clearly at those statutes and say, all of them.
Yeah.
So Mayor, can I ask a question?
But as far as the traffic and our controlling that with our police, that will happen immediately. This part, we're going to have the law department work with you to review. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it is. Very good point.
So I just,
In the beginning, right, it was a reassurance, and it clearly didn't happen.
Yeah.
And nobody even considers that this is an arts district. And, because we protested putting that even in there, oh, put it somewhere else. And they didn't, and that's, they came up with, oh, we'll do.
No,
this.
they can use ours.
And they didn't
They
do
can use
it.
ours. So if any business owner is here, before you leave, please speak to Alex and myself about that. But Monday, if your business is going to be closed, let us know, but we're going to walk to get everyone's information and make sure we apply.
We're coordinated together and we're on
Okay.
a lively email chain, so we can share a letter.
Oh, that'll be fine. That's fine. Thank you for that.
Good morning, how y'all doing? I said it. First of all, I want to say, because when you come into my house, I was raised by my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt. Oh. And I just want to say, I'm home because when I came in here, I was back home in Africa, so I want to say thank you. And I just moved to this area. My name is Corey Morris. I run a business called Chosen One Empowerment. And under that, I also does fitness, and I also teach about wellness, and I also teach about health, because I have family members that have died of cancer, and a wife died of cancer after I was married for a year. And I also was incarcerated for 5 years. So when the young lady said something about the youth, I began to think about what the great Malcolm X said. He said one thing when I read his book, why would we want our enemies to teach our children? And immediately I said, I have to get indulged in this community. And one of the greatest things I know I can do is give my testimony, because those children that a lot of people are running from, I want to run too. And yesterday I was watching the movie Harriet Tubman, and they was telling her what she couldn't do. And she told Frederick Douglass, I'm going back to the South. I'm going to get my family. And I'm just here to be used. I'm looking for a building, actually. And I got actually, I seen you last night that y'all was going to have this meeting. And I know the importance of exposure. You can be in a place, T.D. Jakes said that he was in a place, and I believe Pastor Crouch heard him speak, and it catapulted his career. And I just want to say I'm here to be exposed, because I was looking for a building across the street from the park, the middle school here. I don't know the street. That's how I know I'm here. And I kept calling the number, and nobody answered. And I'm trying to get a building to get involved, because when I was in Spartanburg, South Carolina, or Greensville, South Carolina, wherever I stayed at, I mentored youth, because I was the one in the detention centers and things of that nature, in the shelters, running away from home. So when she said that, immediately I had to say something, because If we have no youth, we have no future.
Absolutely.
And I know this because I just left men that are gang banging, and I asked one young man, why was he gang banging? He said, well, I had no father. So if you have no father, most likely where you're gonna run to? The streets. So I'm just looking for help to try to open up an empowerment center and just be a help in my community. Because even when I define the word community, there's a word in there, it says unity, and to bring together and to commune. And I'm just here to be a vessel to be used because it's Black History Month, but the 365 days of the year this is taught. I went to a school in New Brunswick, it's called Paul Robeson. Actually, there's a center on the Rutgers campus named after Paul Robeson, a great activist. And I had a teacher, her name was Miss Williams, and she said this, and I'll never forget it, and it was Black History Month, and this had to be 1985 or 86. She said, we just don't teach Black history, we are history. And that just defined me, and it always stuck with me, whether I went to the penitentiary, or whether I played football, or whether I got married, or whether I was just a man in life. There were some things that just stuck with me. And I just want to say, I'm just here to help. I'm just here to help. Because that's one of the greatest things I heard MLK said, to be at service. Not just Tuesday, not just Wednesday, not when you go to the masjid or when you go to church, but it is a lifestyle. So I'm just humbled to be here. Once again, I want to say Ashe. I thank God to be here. I didn't know this was in my backyard, you know, but I often take walks, so I didn't know this was here. So I'm just here to be a blessing. I do classes. I do a boxing boot camp. I'm on IG, Chosen One Fitness, just with the, not with the number one, just with the letter one, but I'm here to be used, like I said, and I'm just very grateful and very thankful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, oh, great. Sorry, I want to make this quickly. So, my name is Carlos Figueredo. I run an advertising and marketing business over there, but I also run the 4 spaces that are there. We've brought in 4 different businesses. Riverside Digital, which is a video and editing suite. They do podcasts, things like that. And then there's Arts for Kids New Jersey, run by Vince Ector, a fantastic human being. It's all about getting art in schools and music. And then there's Stuart Tyson, who's a photographer. And he's been here for a long time. We've been here for about, I think, 4 years. We moved the businesses here, and we run we run the businesses, and then we sublet to them. As my wife put it, it's a place that has the right amount of grit, right? Reminds me of where I grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, actually. We love it here. We try to be as a big part of the community as possible. That's what the businesses can do for a community sometimes. And we're always looking for ways to help out. But we've been here for a while, and we've been working with PSE&G, trying to do as much direct contacts as possible to take care of a couple things. There are a couple things that I definitely want to take care of. What's great about these things is that it's a clean slate. We've all been on emails together. Some have responded, some haven't. But starting today, everything changes, hopefully. So there's a couple things that I want to make clear. I'm glad that you're going to address the parking and the traffic and how we work with PSE&G. We have a general rule with them. If there's no cop on the street, we park where we want, right? Even though the guys yell at us and they tell us, don't park here, don't park there, doesn't matter. Because we don't get into beefs with them anymore. We do what we can to survive. I have 7 employees, Riverside has 4, Stewart has 2 or 3, Vince Ector has 2. So we bring about 9, 10 cars here, plus we all go out to lunch here, we go to Hat City Kitchen, we go to the places. That's how businesses can help communities for the most part. The biggest issues that we have, we try to work our best with PSE&G, with Moises and a couple of the guys there. They do their best. A couple guys yell here and there, but it's not the biggest deal. I think there's a couple things that we really need to focus on, so I can just bring them out. One is the street closure that happens here on Freeman happens because the trucks have to do these large turns for the most part and be in and out. But we're talking about maybe 7, 8 times per day that the trucks go in and out. But the street is closed the entire day, right? Schools use crossing guards to get people in and out, but they don't do it for the entire day. They don't close everything down. And what's going to happen here is for 2 years, the businesses along this street have hurt the most. We've been spared for the most part. right? Our business is right over here. But I don't see how that works for these businesses. All right, it's small and short, but I just don't see how it works. I don't see how it works for the pantry, for the food pantry on Wednesdays, right? Because I see the families, they walk right by my window, and they usually used to park right in front, but now they don't. They park far away, and they have their carts, and they're bringing all their food, and it just doesn't seem correct that these guys have a lot there, a lot there, a lot over there, right, in front of them. That's 3 lots for their people. Their people still park on the street, because you can see, because they leave their orange jackets in the back seats of the car.
Trucks parked outside here are all construction vehicles.
Yeah, they're-
For PSE&G, and besides all the closures and everything else, for them to put another 30 or 40 cars on the street each day is a real burden.
So the complexity of it is that Moises handles all that. Every PSE&G worker knows not to park anywhere on the streets. But there's about 12 contracting companies, and they don't know. So they're not doing their job. So often I'll call up Moises and I'll say, hey, listen, I think there's a couple cars out there. He does a quick search, tries to figure it out. But that's ruining his day, and it's ruining the progress. And anything that slows this down actually hurts us in the long run, right? But smart solutions, I think, are the key. So that's one issue. The second issue is, so along this road, there was one driveway, right? But anyone could park there because it was fenced off. So the new substation will now put in 2 driveways. At least that was the first version of when they put that art in. We looked at the plans, there's going to be 3. 3, and the garage widths on those are about 25 feet because they're for large trucks. They're the large ones that go up. I don't know if you've seen the renderings, but the garages will not look like your garages. The garage doors here will look like garages out of an apocalyptic kind of universe. They're massive, they're out of scale. For those trucks to make the turns, you're going to need 10 feet on each side. So if you do the math of about 400 yards, I'm guessing, right? And I think we did the math because we built a 3D SketchUp of it. There's going to be 1, 2, 3 driveways. Each driveway is going to have 10 feet this way, 10 feet that way. This side of the road is going to lose at least 10 parking spots. At least. Right? And I don't think I'm exaggerating here, because the trucks can't make those big left turns. That's why they're using this the most. And I know that Moses wants to transfer everything over to that down there because there's less homes there and they have the parking lots there. But until they build some of the structures and the roads insides, they can't do those things. The thing is, we're blind to it. We have no idea what's going on. I'm just trying to think about the future because I plan to be here. I've been here for 4 years. I have a wonderful lease. I work with hands. I have 4 wonderful businesses. I do get to know the community, and there's other businesses on this side, and I think it's just going to keep growing, right? I think it's a smart investment. But is it worth the squeeze, right? Because we've been through this for like 4 or 5 months, and while we've had some resolutions with Moises and a couple of the people at PSE&G, it's just not enough. So those 2 issues, why is this closed the entire day? It doesn't seem to make sense. They get, yeah.
One thing.
And then I have one quick thing.
This you have control over
I'll be
because
quick,
it's your
I'll be quick.
police.
I'm not even going to ask anybody.
The street closures, 9 o'clock at night, they
it's
come
okay. I know
and put
well.
signs up on my street here after we've all gone upstairs for the night, saying that by 7 o'clock in the morning you have to be doing. And whether you have a car parked here or not, 7 o'clock in the morning, your police are banging on everybody's door to move the cars, and if you don't move your car, you get a ticket, even though when you parked it, it was legal.
It's a
Nightmare.
I can see the way the contractors and work, and I have a lot of family friends who are in this business. They're doing their best, and they're trying to figure things out. But they do park 2 trucks to dump out the excrement from the site every day. That's 2 trucks. They're maybe 35 feet long. They're huge, right? Parked all the way up front. They put the cones there at night, and if you park in between them, they kind of yell at you, but I park there anyways. Or they double park, and then they put a cone behind it. And then our employees come in at around 9:30, and when they come in, they honk the horn, and the guy goes, "Nothing I can do, man," right? And you're kind of sitting there going, "Yeah, there is. You actually have a 50-foot hose. You can go to the end of the block, run that." But they have, if they can build 50, 60 feet in the air, they can figure out how to take the crap out of that site without blocking traffic. They have the options, and they have the money. And I don't think we've been loud enough. I think for the most part, we try to stay away from conflict. But it does, I think we have to have a stronger conversation. Right now, we have no leverage, right? I can accept that. I can accept that there's no leverage whatsoever that we have. You are the leverage. That's it. That's the only way it's going to work. And then I have a question directly for you. Everything else was just comments. And hopefully we can start a conversation over email, because that's where I think things will end up getting done. During our first conversations with PSC&G, there was a slip up. The head of PSC&G, the guy who works under Jason Postorino, who works above Jason Postorino, his boss, he told us that there was a give back. That this property, and this little area, got a give back, some type of green space. And we're not talking about the postage stamp. No. He said that there was a give back, because we asked about, like, one of the ways to make this work is you give something back to the community. You put a basketball court around here, you put something out here, you're going to get a lot more favor, and we're going to be kind of okay with not having the park somewhere during the winter. That's a compromise. So he said that during the meeting. We have questioned him over and over. He has yet to get back to us about what he said, but he did say that they had conversations with Mr. Hartwick.
Who is it that said that?
So I think it's Jones. It's Jason Postorino's boss. It's the head of their PR. It's their head of communications. So he oversees Postorino. Postorino oversees the entire PR of the site. They've bifurcated their emails in a lot of different ways. I can get you the email of the gentleman. But basically, during the meeting, there were a couple here that were maybe during the meeting. During the meeting, he said there was a give back. We can't find where the give back is. We figure the give back was you can have this and then maybe something on the other side of town, which is fine. I mean, that's Orange. That's how you make deals. But he was very specific that the community got a give back, and we never saw it, or we don't know anything about it.
And you said that's discussed in the emails too?
It is discussed in the emails back to him. They never got back to us, and it was discussed in the meeting.
Oh, we raised a question to him, but he never really answered the...
He answered. He said there was a give back, and then you can kind of tell when someone kind of put a foot in the
Try to
mouth.
dial it back.
Right. So we just want to know, is there or isn't there, right? So that the community can get something. And then the other part is, obviously, as we move forward over the next 2 years, what's the best way to handle these parking situations so that the businesses survive, the residents survive, and that we can kind of all get along?
Well, the traffic and the parking, you'll see a radical transformation in 24 hours because we control that entire process. The claims that you put in, I want our legal department involved because we're going to get directly involved with PSC&G on that.
The 3 driveways.
No, the claims, the loss of...
Oh, yes, oh, sorry, that's what you brought up, yeah.
I want to get them involved in that. The issue, the give back part, I can find it out directly, so I'll be able to get back on that. But the other larger issues, and to give voice to all the residents' concerns, I'm going to have PSC&G in to a public meeting where we can all come, express it, and come away with something in writing that'll be enforceable through our council and through our planning board, who still has jurisdiction over it.
Well, Jason Postorino's boss, I can't remember his name for the life of me right now, will most likely be at that meeting because he heads up that part of the PSC&G. You can ask him the question directly. What was the give back that he spoke about?
And I want that to be public and have that discussion with them publicly, so that whatever we talk about is out in the open instead of having a closed conversation here and a closed conversation there. Let's do it out in the open.
Well, I mean, it begs a simple question. Were there any give backs, quid pro quos, legal, of getting the substation that the town of Orange got in return?
Yeah, I'm not aware. I'm not aware.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything like that, but I want to know if any of those discussions happened.
PSC&G promised us that they would give some sort of community.
I know there was some green space they developed. Yeah, but they're saying there's something more far-reaching than that, so I want to know what that is.
Thank you.
So here's a great thing. At that meeting, PSC&G had a steno. They had someone taking meeting notes. So his words will be in the meeting.
Yeah, we'll demand that too. Yeah, absolutely. And if we have to do a series of meetings, that might be the case. We can do one here in some other location, wherever we choose, but we need to have that meeting.
Hello.
But the other one, I'll work over the weekend to make sure we have changes Monday in terms of traffic and parking. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mel Williams.
Brother Williams.
I'm a resident of Orange. I knew the mayor for a long time. He's always been very active for years before he even became mayor. I have some concerns. We have a lot of business here in Orange, residential, commercial, restaurants, you know. I work with the youth. I have been coaches. My daughter's been a coach. My son been a coach for years and years and years. Now we're coaching our grandkids. Wow. And I find it hard to believe we have all these businesses that we support 100% for years and years and years. But when you come to them for support, for sponsorship, they turn a blind eye easily. And it's too easy for them to do that. I think if we put something in place where they have to be responsible to giving back to our children, our community, the dollars that we give them year in and year out. We have gentlemen like this brother here who's excited, passionate to give back. We have Valley Arts, we have my daughter, Zell. These are her artists. They give 100%. They come here, they give, they cook. All they ask for is some sponsorship, some community gathering. If we can get these communities, if we can get these businesses to respond to us collectively, passionately, to give back what we give them for years and years and years, then we won't have to worry about basketball courts. We won't have to worry about putting money into our parks, Maycap. They turn around too easy. They're not giving back. And we're stuck here trying to do for ourselves, for our children. But we constantly give them, through generation and generation, our finances and incomes.
Thank you. And because you're right, we all have a responsibility because our consumers, many of us walk and we want to go somewhere close, and so we turn into our own businesses, and that's where we shop, and that's where we give our money. So it's good that they should start giving back. Where did Karen Wells go? Right. Oh, I'm going to have, I've tasked Karen Wells with helping us to do some new attention to the library and bringing some corporate people to attention to the library. I'm going to have Chris Mobley, our economic development person, work with her with the UEZ dollars to start to have a larger business summit so that we can call our business owners in internally and say, here's what you've been given from the community, here's what we expect, and here's how we can assist you in your growth as well. I think it's a very good point. And we'll start immediately.
Because I'm working on it right now, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from a bunch of different people, but some of the feedback that I'm getting back from the businesses is, yes, I'm here and people support me, but look where my business is and look how I look. Look how my street looks, you know. I don't have any aesthetics or anything to make people want to come here. So they're like, yeah, I'm here and I'm barely making it, but there are no plantings on my street. Street lights are out on my street. Sidewalks are broken on my street, especially our main street. So I said, okay, let's walk it. So we did. And they're right. They're right. Where I've got trees that have been destroyed and never put back, where I have no plantings on my street. So we went to other towns to see what they've got. All kind of plantings. And Shager Group, is which is my understanding, does that in South Orange. And I said, wait a minute, Shager Group is in Orange. I know they're in Orange because they recently came and had to dig up my water pipe. And I was like, oh, really? They're here? And so I think cooperatively, we all have to work together to get this done because the businesses really have a complaint. I mean, they've got serious complaints about, look how I look. And that's true because even on the library, we're working on that too, look how I look, because like the mayor said, I am working on a library initiative. And just to give you a small taste of where we are, it's hard to get functions in the schools because you have to have security and this, that, and the other. So I've been talking to some of my friends and they said, well, look, you got this big library here, make that your center. So we're going to make that the center. I've sent out volunteer applications to all of our students in town. I'm meeting with them next week to see what their their interests are. And I've also contacted major stars foundations. Said, look, okay, I'm not ready to ask for money right now because we don't have the 501c3 together, which we're getting together, but we want to do a wall of encouragement. So what I did is I've sent letters to these foundations, and one of the foundations got back to me, Shaquille O'Neal's foundation. And they said, we would love to send you a photo of Shaq with a letter of encouragement. I can't remember her name, but they got back to me also. Taraji Henson. She has a whole girls thing that she does, and she said, oh, I would love to do this, and yes, I will send one. So we're working on that now, and as soon as I get my students together, you're going to see students showing up in groups. Okay, I'm on this committee.
You're doing technology stuff too.
Right, in technology. I'm the technology person. Okay, let me not even go there. Clearly, we have to upgrade our technology, and I've made some suggestions, and Kim Fisher, who is our technology person in Orange, who is excellent, okay, excellent, because I had him come in the library. I was like, because when I first went in the library, I tried to open a Word document, and it was Word 2005. Wait a minute, Microsoft doesn't even support that anymore. So he upgraded it for me. So, you know, we can make baby steps and do it, but there are so many things that we can do, and a lot of this stuff that we can do without any money, you know, to get this done. So I'm really excited about, you know, the students that I'm going to get. I'm talking with Board of Education, Dr. Fitzhugh, and he's on board. And, you know, we could really turn this around because, and I'm also the town historian. Nobody knows more history of Orange than I do, but it is amazing what happened here and who was here. The Bush family, you know, the George Bush family, they're from here, from Orange. Epiphany Church, the grandfather built that. A&P was started here. IBM was started here. Right, was right here. I mean, Monroe Calculating, the hat factories. There's so much history, and if we just promote that, straighten things up and promote that, who's better than us? Nobody. Because when I go to I go to all the other towns, and it's like, you know, you know, oh, you know, you envy us. No, we don't envy you. We've got our own stuff. We just got to fix it up. And believe me, we've got the infrastructure to do it.
Karen, have we as a community for Main Street in particular looked at a bid or a state as a way to
Let me say something about that. Hold on, one second.
Well, I want to get, I want to get
Right.
the recorder. Yeah, I want to get the recorder.
That's come up a number of times, a bid or a sit, and every time it was turned down. I don't know if it's come up in this administration, but a bid is an absolute necessity for business, and that's easy enough to do. And because were designated in 2007 as a Main Street community, we were designated, we have access to those funds, and they'll set up a bid and put an executive director on probably. That's just a matter of doing that. And it would be an
on
excellent
Main
idea.
Street in fall of 2023, we'll get approved to do an entire Main Street improvement from the
DCA?
right below the West Orange line, all the way to the beginning, right after the parks are right at the East Orange border.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'll include sidewalks, streets, lights, plantings.
That'd be great.
It would have been done this year, but I think the state government cut grant dollars and said we'd have to match some, or we can wait, so I chose to wait.
Well, if we just looked better, and it's not like we have to build stuff, we got everything it takes. Just put it up.
You can even power wash, start with a simple power washing it to clean it up.
But, you know, if you just put plantings on the street, you know, that kind of thing, you know, put the compactor, garbage cans on the street. Instead of parking meters, just put the
Electronic.
like that, because it just cleans things up. I mean, this stuff is not hard. It's not hard. You know, and I'm one of those people, I've lived in Orange since 1987. And I moved to Orange, I didn't even look at anything else. When I saw my house, I was like, yeah, I want that one. I I didn't even look at the rest of the place. But nobody has more than we do, and it's just a matter of fixing it up, and we're there. And nobody has 4 train stations like Orange either. We have Mountain Station on one end, Brick Church on the other end, and 2 in the middle of town. It's insane that our Highland Avenue train station is not open. That's just like crazy. And there are other towns that would kill for 1 train station. West Orange thinks the Orange train station is theirs. That's where their bands come and everything. Another thing, because we are Main Street, we can get free commuter vans for our commuters because we're a Main Street community. Just apply for it. Now, this was before you. The other mayor didn't apply for it because they just didn't feel like it. I was like, wait a minute, they're gonna give you 2 free vans. They're like, yeah. Mayor, really? Come on.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Do you remember my name? Mr. Warren? Mayor Warren? I changed my hair since the last time you saw me. That's probably the problem. I'm Lydia Baker.
I know who you are, Lydia.
Don't play with me then. So, you know, I'm not going to bring up the West Ward issue. It sounds like, and having sat through quite a few of these and gone to developers meeting with you last year for some of the other work on Crane Street and all that stuff, it sounds like there is a deficit in working talent at City Hall. It seems like the same people are being tasked with multiple things, and it's just running up against the wall of, we don't have enough time to take care of everything. At least that's what it looks like from my purview when, you know, you're aware of the issue, we're working on the issue, the law department's gonna do X, Y, and Z, but there's like a finite amount of talent capable of doing the work, and the rest of them are just hangers-on. So as insensitive as my comment might sound, I'm gonna ask it again, because I asked it a couple years ago, is there a concerted effort being made, and I understand the legal boundaries, to attract and to encourage the type of talent that Orange needs to take the next couple steps? You know, you see during election season, people jump to the fore, oh, I'm ready. Poorly constructed sentences and all. And they fade to black after the election is over. And for those of us who live here, the problems persist. And as encouraged as I am with the response to the issues that are happening in this location, I've been there. I'm exhausted by the conversation, and years go by between my emails and phone calls because I'm just tired of what are you talking about? And who did you talk to? It's a customer service issue, it's a recording issue, it's a lot of different things, and frankly, I kind of don't care to figure out why it's an issue. I just want to know what's being done about the issue. I hope I explained it clearly to everyone. My other question is, as great as it is to have large developers come into Orange, and I see the tone being changed, I hope that we move towards a space where, yeah, you want to work with us. You better want to work with us. You got to give us exactly what we asked for, and I know it's about leverage, but we've seen developers come in and do whatever.
Exactly.
And I think there's enough here with all of the things that are going on and all of the things that are projected to go on that we can possibly and most definitely say, you know what, if you want to work here, you got to do this for us. And be clear about what those incentives are for the community, because I feel like that information is not easily accessible. If we knew what Crane Street was doing for that location in terms of the incentive, I don't think you would hear as much grumbling about the momentary inconvenience. The trucks and the rumbling and all. If we knew clearly, if there was even if it was a spreadsheet of, this is what's going in, this is the cost, this is the developer's fee for doing it. This is how much he's paying in tax abatement. This is what he's going to give back to the community, and here is its proximate value. And it's easily accessible. You're not going to get people going, well, what are they doing about the Memorial Hospital? I can't tell you how many times I'm like, well, as much of it as an eyesore, I don't think the city of Orange owns it. In fact, the city of Orange doesn't own it.
And then the next conversation, and so we keep having the same conversations over and over, and really what my primary question is, and I wrote it all down, what's being done, or is there is there access or a portal for small developers, my minority-owned developers, the people who are flocking to Newark to put in 3 and 4 family homes here in Orange to develop in these spaces, give them those, even if it's an existing homeowner that just doesn't know the steps, do we have those mechanisms? Do we have the toolkit available for them to step forward? And for our small contractors, for our subcontractors, our trade guys who have their LLCs and are doing those business, you know, you see them on Instagram and you see them rolling by in their trucks, is there a portal that they can then qualify for public work? I tried to press this before, like, it's not hard to become a public bidder. It's not hard to get that paperwork together. Can we put together a toolkit that gives them access, kind of in the way Newark does, to come to the table and go, hey, I'm Orange bred. I'm capable of doing X. I've started my LLC. There's funding here. This bid is worth X. I can come in. I can cut the grass for City Hall. Do we have grass at City Hall? Okay.
But we cut it.
I don't know. I think it's like 2 little patches. But do the things that we, you know, is our Public Works Department overburdened right now with all of the stuff that we're doing? Is there funding there, even on a small level, for them, for homegrown folks, contractors, subcontractors, tradesmen, to come in and do those works for Orange so that there is a sense of community? Because frankly, how long have I lived here, Karen?
How long as I have, 37 years, something like that?
No, girls, don't.
She only right.
But I'm not familiar with any of the businesses here. I'm in walking distance. And if it wasn't for Inner City Cafe being right next to where that debate was happening, I would have not come across her either. And so yes, I have dollars that I make outside of Orange that I'd like to spend in Orange, but without some central space for me to go into the spaces where we are proudly advertising those things, you're going to remain unseen. And so the money that you're trying to access and the support that you're looking for, you're not going to find it because we don't know you're here. And I think my final comment is I would like to see more of an effort made up for the students of Orange, the graduating seniors, the parents, the single parents that are supporting them, for us to celebrate their wins. I want to know who the senior class is. I don't know if it's brushing up against rules, but who's my valedictorian? I don't have a ticket to the graduation, but I want, if I see this kid on the street, to be like, great job. The ones who are, I don't know who's on the football team. I don't have children in Orange, so maybe that's part of the problem. But when they win, if they're not getting accolades from us, there's no reason for them to feel any kind of loyalty to return to us. So while we're putting that talent out there, I feel like we should make an effort to celebrate them when they win. Every single time there's a scholarship, there should be a spot on that Facebook page, on that main page, that puts that child's face up there and goes, you know what? Mom did a fantastic job. He's from a single family home. Let's do a little bit. Glen Ridge did their graduating seniors in headshots all along Ridgewood Avenue. I thought that was the most phenomenal thing. I pulled over when I saw it. It's money, Glen Ridge is a little different. But we can do it in a digital fashion that would draw attention to the fact that we have real talent here. And these kids are, unless they're causing problems, they're not being seen. At least not by the residents over where I am. That's it.
Dr. Fixie was trying to work on that.
So can I jump in, Ms. Baker, right? You said Ms. Baker. So what I want to say is I've been in a couple of meetings where we have small business owners or developers come into the town and they are interested in doing said whatever, but you have to have your paperwork in order. And sometimes, I don't know if it's something that the mayor could do as a mentor
But I
program.
think what she's talking about really is having that kind of seminar to help them become qualified to bid a lot of what we do.
Right.
Make that paperwork digital so they can fill it out online.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to act on that idea with our urban enterprise zone funds. I think there's enough to be able to do a seminar, bring them in. Here's how you go through the bidding process. Here are all the bids that we have out there. Here's how you do your business registration form. Everything that they need, we know because we accept it. So teaching them wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm going to take that idea. Yeah, exactly.
Team up with the local so that there's exposure for their business.
Yep.
Like, if they get to come here, you're like, oh, I didn't know this was here.
Right.
Well, tell me why.
That's the idea. That's why we're here, actually.
Right, to let people know.
So your photography thing with the kids, running up and down, it's a woman, her name is Yasmin Anderson. The interesting story about that is, it started off with, I think it was the basketball or the soccer team, and they just put like 8 of their pictures. And then every team said, and every parent said, no, I want mine too. And then the city found the money to get all these kids their photographs. And basically, instead of spending money on making a nice fence, they just put the kids all the way up and down. And then that trickled over to Glen Ridge and then trickled over to the other towns. Now, the other towns are hiring different photographers. But she is a South Orange local. She works with our business often. She's actually a personal friend. There's also Marsha, who was here. Her husband, who ran photo studio here, who was my partner for a while. He does it also. It's actually not incredibly expensive because of scale. What's important is the printing and the visualization of all of that going across that line changes that line and it changes your perception of that town. Because you see the faces, instead of a big sign that says naturally, champions or whatever, you just go, oh, that's that guy, oh, I know him, I know that family. And I gotta tell you, it is an incredibly positive effect for an incredibly good ROI.
Yeah, I like that. I'm good with the Board of Ed. But I got to get Fitz, you got that.
Award ceremony and all that. Now, like I said, I've been here. We got students who got full 4-year scholarships to Harvard University, to MIT.
It is?
Why don't I
All
know
right, you better break in.
It was amazing.
You better break in. It's already quiet. You better break in on camera. It's already quiet.
I'm gonna send you the Okay. Okay. Beautiful. So you expressed that there should be some sort of platform for budding entrepreneurs, especially the businesses, small businesses here in Orange. And I think it's really important for even those who don't know exactly how to form their businesses. Here at Zill Creative Studios, that's exactly what we do. We are a hub for budding entrepreneurs as well as small businesses. We do it mostly for artists as well as wellness practitioners who you see in the room, mostly around here, artist practitioners. But we do help you form your businesses. We help you get the legal aid that you need. We help you get the grants that you may be eligible for as far as a small business. And we also help you do things like put your craft in a bottle, basically intellectual property protection and things of that nature. We do provide a platform for lawyers that are coming out of law school that are new and that are looking for the business, that are hungry. And we try to we basically build a hub where we can provide those services, but also showcase you guys, showcase the businesses. And I do notice that Orange is evolving in their online platform. I think that that is an amazing thing. I noticed that people can, it's more user-friendly. They can go on there. There's different offerings and things of that nature where they can actually, you can see what's going on in the city a bit more. But I do agree that there needs to be more collective effort as far as showcasing what is available and what is accessible here in our city. So a hub is exactly what it is that I think we need for that. So with collaboration with businesses like, I'm sorry, this guy, what's your business again?
Oh, it's Creative.
Yeah, that's right. So they do things along that line. We do things along that line for artists. The city is building their platform. So I believe more than anything, it just takes that collective effort. It takes filling the room like this and coming together on a consistent basis so that we can bring those things together and bring them into full fruition. So yes, I want to thank you guys all again. I want to thank, just to give yourselves a round of applause, first of all, for showing up for each other. Woo, baby. Alrighty, this was really good. So I'm gonna thank Adrian for holding this space, Dwayne for showing up, being our special guest, and everybody on our platform. Jamie left, so I'm gonna give it over to you.
So this,
Yes.
The thing I went with at the library, there used to be a 501c3 Friends of Orange Library, but there's a function, but I have all of the paperwork, because we need to put that back together. Can I come here and you help me with that?
Absolutely.
I'll be here with that.
Absolutely. So can I tell them when we're open?
She has Wi-Fi?
So we are here, we have open gallery hours, We are here from Tuesday through Thursday, where anybody who needs that help, who needs that platform, who wants to even get what it is that they're good at, extract it and turn it into a business, that's what we're here for. We are all working together consistently. Anything that you guys want to bring to the forefront, I always work very diligently with Ms. Adrian Wooten, and I'm sure they are going to be diligent in your concerns. And yeah, so we're here for it. Thank you.
Get all the paperwork together, and I'm gonna come back. 'Cause I just gotta put that together.
Thank everybody, we're still gonna be here.
So-
Told everybody to hang around.
if you'd like to hang around, we're gonna be here. I just wanna thank everybody. I know the flyer said from 9:30 to 11:30, and I am, dead set on, because I know people's time is important. It's very important. But for me, this was like one of the most amazing coffee and conversations, because it was very informative, but the questions asked were really, really good questions. They weren't questions asked like trying to make everybody be nice or feel good. They were, I felt like, serious questions. So I want to turn the mic over to the mayor. I want to thank City Attorney Alex Sirocco for getting up on a Saturday morning and coming out here with us. Chap, who is our person that's always filming everything. Mackenzie, who was fabulous this morning in setting up all the pastries and the cheese and the crackers. And just thank all of you for coming out. But please don't leave. We'll be here for a minute. Thank you so much. Mayor Warren.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We are going to stick around, so if there are any questions or issues you want to discuss, certainly we will be here. This is important. This is how community gets made. This our best ideas, and whatever we do good came out of sessions like this. So thank you all for coming. God bless. Good day.